Alright, hi, my name is Cass, and I'll be going over Project Zombie Game, which is a wave survival game. Alright, let's go. Project Zombie Game is a retro-style wave survival game with 7 characters. We'll get into that in a moment. This game has every 5, 15, 25 waves have special waves, and every 10, 20, 30 waves they have bosses. For special waves, we have Epic Sauce Party, where every zombie in the wave gets speed 2 and are on fire, which inflicts burn 2 upon hitting a player. For the next one, it's Frostbitten, which makes the whole map slippery with ice, and it makes every zombie frostbitten, which is really tanky but really slow. That inflicts slow. But in Frostbitten, they get speed 3, so normal speed of a zombie. For the last one, we have Time Crunch, where the wave only lasts 1 minute. And there's one more which isn't in the video, but it's Tough Skin, which gives zombies a defense boost. Now, without further ado, let's get into the characters. For our first character, we have the starter character, Warrior. Basically, he has 3 moves: parry, slingshot, and slash. Parry, you do a little animation, and if you time it right before the zombie hits you, you parry, which does a decent bit of damage, and that's about it. For his second ability, slingshot, it's basically his ranged move, has 15 ammo, and when you try to reload, it gives a slowness effect. That's about it. And then for his final move, slash, pretty self-explanatory. It slashes in front of you. Some tips I would say, is to try and time your parry, as it's probably the best move in his kit. Try not to use your slash that much, because you're kind of running the risk of getting hit, and you don't want that. And utilize your slingshot, as it's probably going to be what you're mainly going to use. And yeah, that's about it. Alright, for our next character, we have multibloxxer. Multibloxxer has 3 moves: Ritual Mask, his M1, and then his ranged attack. His Ritual Mask, upon activation, will make the multibloxxer put on a mask, or whatever it is, depending on the skin. It gives you speed 2 or 3, and it lasts for like 30 seconds. But once it wears off, it gives you slowness and blindness, so use it wisely. His second attack, which is his M1, does dubious damage and gives enemies the corrupted effect, which is just damage over time. And his third move, which is his ranged move, throws 3 projectiles, which stuns and does decent bit of damage upon landing. Some tips I would have for him is to bait out the zombie's hit before using your M1, just so you avoid the risk of getting hit. I mainly use the Ritual Mask for bosses, but you can use it however you want. And use your range attack whenever you're in a pickle or for bosses, because it stuns them as well. Alright, for our next character, we have Gambler. Gambler's a bit of an interesting case because he has technically 2 phases. For his first phase, he could only use a slot machine, which gives a random chance, which rolls 3 numbers. It's a gamble. Gambler has gambling. Shocking. Anyways, basically you have a random chance to roll 3 random numbers. If it's just 3 different numbers, then you don't get anything. You have to re-roll again. Thankfully, the cooldown's pretty short. But if you do roll 3 of the exact same numbers, like 777, 666, you know, stuff like that, you get Gambler State, which gives you 2 moves. Harsh Power and Ferishment Barrage. Basically, Ferishment Barrage is a barrage of attacks that shred HP. And Harsh Power, basically, Gambler grabs a bat from the ground, swings around everywhere and then just slams the ground, which does a lot of damage. That's his kit. Anyways, some tips I would have for him is he's really good at shredding bosses, so I recommend using him if the comp of the server you're in doesn't have any boss shredders. And 2, don't try and get value out of your slot machine, because I've seen way too many people try and squash zombies with it, because you can squash it. You can squash zombies with it, but it's high risk, low reward, because it only one-shots basic zombies, and you run the risk of getting absolutely bodied by like warrior zombies or something. So just use the slot machine when you're away from zombies. Don't try and get value out of it. Alright, this next character is T9T. They are a tank class, and they have 3 moves. Everyone has 3 moves. His first move is basically a big AoE move with where you put your weapon into the ground and it shakes the screen a bit. It does really good damage and it gives you iframes. So, yeah. His second move is basically his basic attack. It just does a short range attack, but it does have an aerial variant. So, you know, if you jump and then use the attack, it slams into the ground. And then his third move is summons a blue ball that sucks any enemies, like drags enemies along with it when they get too close. Some tips for him: bait out the zombies and M1s before using the earthquake move. Don't be dumb and use a non-iframe attack when you're in a giant horde of zombies. You'd be surprised how many times I've seen that. And third off, your suction move, the third move, doesn't get every zombie. There are some variants that don't get affected by like heavy zombies, nothing major. So, you know, just be aware of that. But something that is interesting, a couple bosses like Scripter, I think, do get affected by it. So use that information to do whatever with it. Alright, for this next character, it is right now the only support in the game. So it is pretty it's pretty vital if you want to get to a higher wave. But this character is 1CDC11 or 1CDC or CDC, whatever, call them whatever you want. Basically they have 3 moves. Ammo switch, their basic attack, and tasty drop. Basically ammo switch switches between ammo that hurts zombies and ammo that heals players, which it does heals a decent amount of health. Second is just the M1 shot, self-explanatory. And then it's their third move, Tasty Drop, throws a health potion, which heals a good chunk of HP to whoever drinks it. Some tips I would have for them is if you have friends who play this game, try and train them to actually get your potions, because a lot of people just straight up ignore your potions, even though they have like a 40-second cooldown, which is just a waste. But it's that. Prioritize healing over hurting enemies, unless the comp is like all warriors, then go solo, because so I mean warrior's fine, but it's not really based on teamwork. But anyways, for Tasty Drop, use it on teammates that are really low, or a T9T using their earthquake move, because when they use that, you can't use healing shots. So if they're at like half HP, throw them the potion, then they'll get healed. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, For this next character, this is Dignity. Arguably a better multi-bloxxer just because they're more ranged, so you don't have to really get close and personal, except for like one move. But we'll get into that. 3 moves. They have Abyssal Rupture, Star Chase, and their Crown Throw. I'm not saying all that. Their first move, Abyssal Rupture, basically you do a bit of wind up, it gives you a bit of slowness before slamming your crown into the ground, which is a massive AoE attack. Like, the hitbox is very forgiving. The range move basically, oh yeah, it gives them voided effect, which is damage over time. The range of the crown throw, it throws your crown, which does decent damage, but it wants you, and when it comes back, any enemies that are hit by the crown when it's coming back to you will get the voided effect. But if it hits an object on the way back to you, you will get the voided effect. From what I can see, only does which only darkens your screen a bit, which is a problem for something like Yorick's resting place because of how dark that map is. But other than that, it's not that big of a debuff. And then his final move, Star Chaser. He lunges forward. It gives him resistance 5. He lunges forward, does 1 punch and then a secondary punch. The first punch stuns them, and then the second punch knocks them back, giving them corrupted effect. No, not corrupted, voided effect. His kit is really good, really easy to learn, not that hard to master. Just try and kind of combo, like, use your ranged attack, do Abyssal Rupture, and then do your Star Chase. Try not to go straight into a horde of enemies. Try and go, like, curve around the horde. Try and curve into the middle of the horde. Yeah, that's about it for him. Alright, for our final character, we have Builderman. He has 3 moves. Teapot Turret, Killbot, and Banhammer. Teapot Turret holds you in place for like a second or 2, maybe even 3, to build a turret. It gives you a resistance 4 or 5. The turret has 20 ammo and 5 clips. So it has 5 clips of ammo before, it runs out. And when it runs out, it blows up in a pretty big blast radius. Killbot. Upon using the ability first time, it will summon a Killbot. The Killbot. You can't stack it or anything. And then from that time onwards, until you die, you get an infinite pierce projectile that does do really good damage. Not much else to cover. Banhammer. Upon using the Builderman will get slowness 2, and it'll knock the enemy back, also stunning them. Not much else. Some tips, just like Gambler, don't try and use Teapot Turret to tank a bunch of hits. It's a dumb idea. Just put turrets in good spots. Killbot, not really anything to say, just land your shots. I personally recommend being in 3rd person for him. In Banhammer, I personally use it as a way to keep zombies back. So how I do it is usually stay around my turret and spam my Killbot. If they get too close, I Banhammer, knock them back, and then start the loop all over again. And yeah, that's all I have to say for Builderman. If you like this video, leave a big, fat, voluptuous, wet like. Drop a sub. Leave a comment for criticism about just the game, or any extra tips you want, or any tips you can provide. Comment anything you want out, really, I don't care, as long as it's nothing outright rude. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.